The Super Mario Galaxy movie is here, and since I'm a 29-year-old YouTuber that talks about movies on the internet, I decided to drag myself to the theater on April Fool's Day to watch this very prestigious film. And I know the argument is I could probably skip this one. It's made for kids. My YouTube stats tell me my demographic is between 18 and 40 years old, so I thought I was gonna get a pass on this one. But I realized pretty quickly that I was making the right decision for my channel, because the real demographic for this movie is the guy I saw as soon as I walked in the theater. We have those reclining chairs at this one theater, and he had his bare ass feet on somebody else's recliner. I see the bottom of his foot. It's dirty as shit. The guy's like 38 or 39 years old, and I instantly realized in this moment that yes, this is the exact person the Super Mario Galaxy movie is for. I think he was genuinely upset when 10 minutes later someone walked in the theater and said, "Hey, this is my seat," and he had to like take his feet off. Truly a disastrous looking human being. So the spectrum of people that watch this, it's either little kids where they're like, wow, this is my first movie ever, this is so cool. And then on the other side of that, there's gonna be adults that are genuinely upset at me for critiquing a Mario movie. So you could grill me in the comment section down below. I just want movies to be better. This is a movie YouTube channel. Subscribe if you agree with my takes that I'm about to give. But listen, I'm not gonna sit here and dunk on Nintendo. I mean, I grew up playing Nintendo games. I had a GameCube, I had a Wii, I had a Nintendo DS. I loved playing Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers with my friends. I got Mario 64 when they had like that virtual console on the Wii. Played a ton of that. Like, I'm not anti-Mario by any means. And Mario is like the face of video games. You know, like maybe besides, I don't know, Pac-Man? Like what else is there besides Mario? Like he's kind of the staple of the industry. If anybody was due for like a proper movie adaptation, it was this guy. And they really didn't do it justice when it came out in the 90s. But yeah, I'm just not in my Mario phase right now. I'm sure when I have kids, I'll introduce them to Nintendo and Mario because it's like, it's the perfect family kind of video game. And I will absolutely whip my kids' asses in Mario Kart until my reflexes are just non-existent. And I think there's a clear reason that the first movie made over $1.3 billion, because almost everybody on this planet that's under the age of like 60 has probably played some sort of Mario or Nintendo game growing up at some point in their lives. And to be fair, if I was a parent and I had really little kids, like this would probably be like one of 3 movies that I see on the calendar for the whole year. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely gonna be one I take my kids to. And if you liked the first Mario movie or your kids liked the first Mario movie, you and or your kids are going to like the second movie. It's almost the exact same movie. I don't see a lot of people going into the second one where they're like, oh man, I love the Super Mario Brothers movie. I can't wait for the Mario Galaxy movie. And then they go see this and they're like, oh my God, that was terrible. I don't think those people are going to exist. And if they do, they're going to rewatch the first movie and be like, oh yeah, why did I like this one in the first place? They're pretty much doing the same thing here that they did 3 years ago. Except this time they're making an adaptation of the very popular Wii game Super Mario Galaxy, which I actually have never played because around the time that game came out was kind of when I was in my Halo and Call of Duty phase. And as a 12-year-old kid, it was much more appropriate for me to play the No Russian level in Modern Warfare 2 than it was to play Super Mario Galaxy. So I missed the wave on that game, but a lot of people consider it like a top 10 or top 5 video game of all time. And when it came to the first movie, me personally, I thought it was like fine. For a while when I first saw it, I just thought it was flat out not good, but there is a decent amount of humor in there that is actually well written. And I think to this day, even 3 years later, the animation in that movie is absolutely stunning. Illumination and Nintendo put so much money into it, and you could clearly tell. You could argue it's not the most stylized animation, but in terms of just like classic standard 3D animation that we have going on right now, you could argue it's possibly the best looking there is. But when it came to the movie itself, there's definitely a lot more people that liked it a lot more than me. And this is kind of used as the prime example when people online on Twitter especially start going like, man, critics don't know what the fans want. This is a good movie. It's like the prime example of that. And you could tell when you look at the Rotten Tomatoes for the first movie. I mean, the critics kind of thought it was whatever, and the fans thought it was the best thing of the year. And it's easy to understand why. You know, diehard fans just want to see their favorite characters that they grew up with on the big screen, no matter what. That is their priority of seeing the movie. And critics want a good movie. They want a story or just like a decent time at the theater. And fans loved the first one because of that. Like, say what you want about it, it delivered on what you would consider fan service, I guess. I don't think fan service is is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing to service your fans. I think when you do the opposite of fan service, it's actually much worse. But when you prioritize fan service, you're not prioritizing making a good movie necessarily. And a lot of fans loved the first film because of that. A lot of those fans are going to love the second movie because of that. This one has even more references and even less story somehow. And if you enjoyed this movie, I'm happy for you, especially if you're under the age of 9. I'm glad you're into movies, but I just did not enjoy watching the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And I couldn't even smell the stench of the guy's feet in front of me. That has nothing to do with my experience of the film itself. And look, this is not like it's the worst movie of all time, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, this is The Bride. That video is coming later on, I promise you. But it is pretty much what the first movie did. It's just like a slightly worse version of it. I don't think this is a drop off like you watch Jaws and then you watch Jaws 2, which I even defend Jaws 2. I actually like that movie because everything that made somebody like the first movie is pretty much copy and pasted here. Like those things are still in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. But I wrote a Letterboxd review as soon as I got out of the theater because the only thing I could think of while watching this movie is it just feels like somebody went into ChatGPT and was like, hey, we need to make a movie that makes another $1 billion and pretty much do what the first movie did, because it just feels like every 90 seconds there's just like some sort of reference to something Nintendo, which I don't think having references is a bad thing, but it just feels like the only ideas in this movie are like, where can we put a reference and how can we put shitty jokes in between the references? And don't get me wrong, like the first movie did that too, but I skimmed. So yesterday morning I went on Peacock, I skimmed through the first movie. I probably watched a collective of like 5 to 10 minutes of it and kind of just skipped around just to like familiarize myself again of like what I did and didn't like about the movie. And that movie's doing the same kind of thing, but it is definitely more well done and is funnier. And that just confirmed to me even more that there is definitely a step down in the comedy of the Galaxy movie versus the original movie. A lot of the jokes in this one I just really didn't find funny at all. Maybe some kids would find it funny. My theater wasn't laughing that hard and there was like a good amount of people in there. And if the guy with the nasty ass feet isn't laughing that hard, I think you might have a problem on your hands. I didn't find anything as cringy as the Peaches song from the first one. I know a lot of people love that shit. I thought, man, that was a low point in my movie going career. There's nothing as cringy as that, but I feel like I cringed more times in this one. Not like a ton of times. I probably cringed like 3 to 5 times in this movie. And the delivery of the jokes from the cast doesn't feel as good as the delivery of the jokes from the first movie. Like, especially Chris Pratt and Charlie Day. There are some line reads in here where I'm like, man, did you guys even try? It just feels like they clocked in, read some lines, clocked out, got paid. Like, that's all it felt like. And the level of voice acting just feels like what it should have felt after they announced the cast a few years ago. Like there are just certain days that burn in your brain. Like when Kobe died in the helicopter crash, that whole day you're sitting there like, yeah, that didn't happen. Like that's something that's so crazy that you can't even process it for the entire day. That's how I felt when I found out Chris Pratt was Mario and Seth Rogen was Donkey Kong. But now we have 4 more major Nintendo characters being cast by really famous people. First, we have Donald Glover as Yoshi. I can't believe that's a real sentence. And that is the exact reason they cast Childish Gambino as Yoshi. The only line he says is Yoshi, which I think is actually a good thing. They could have went the direction where they made Yoshi talk. That would have been a disaster. But also, like, do we need Donald Glover to say Yoshi? There's so many voice actors that have been doing Yoshi for years that I'm sure they would make it sound better. And this one just, I'm not even going to attempt to imitate it on camera. I'm not going to embarrass myself. And I don't think he does a bad job. Like, it's like, yeah, he did a pretty good Yoshi impression. I wouldn't cast him as Yoshi in the big budget Mario movie, but I get it. It's all part of their viral marketing to sell more tickets. It's the only reason they're casting people like this in these roles. And I guess Donald Glover says Yoshi good enough, so I can't complain too much. They definitely make him the cutest part of the movie. I mean, Yoshi is an iconic character. My sister used to call him Squishy growing up. That was like her main character in Mario Kart. So yeah, I've always loved Yoshi. The popcorn bucket's gonna make millions of dollars. But that's not the only new character. We have Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. And I like Benny Safdie a lot. Even as an actor, I think he's pretty solid. I just didn't love the casting for him as Bowser Jr. Like, I don't know, you're looking at the character and you know he's supposed to be a child. Just my first thought would be, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't cast a 40-year-old man as a child. Maybe we should just cast a child, or maybe we should cast a really impressive voice artist that could do a really good child voice. Maybe we should do one of those two things instead of doing whatever we have Benny Safdie trying to do in this movie. He's not terrible, don't get me wrong. It's just like the voice is fine, but when you look at the character, you're like, yeah, that's just not what Bowser Jr. should sound like. Brie Larson is also in this as Rosalina. I think she actually does a pretty good job. She just doesn't have that much screen time to work with, which is pretty surprising because the one thing I know about Mario Galaxy is Rosalina's a big character in it. Like, she's kind of the focus of the story. So for her to be kind of in the back seat of the Mario Galaxy movie, I'm not going to get super upset about it because I'm not a diehard Super Mario Galaxy fan. But I could imagine if you're going into this movie really excited to see a lot of her, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. And then we have Glenn Powell as Fox McCloud, which would have been a cool surprise in the movie if they didn't spoil the shit out of it a week before the movie comes out. And look, I loved Fox growing up, right? Like Star Fox 64, awesome game. I played as Fox all the time when I played Melee. Like, I like Fox. He's a cool character. And I think out of all the new characters, they probably do Fox the best. I think Glenn Powell is really fun in the role, even though he's pretty much doing a child version of his Top Gun Maverick character. I still think he's solid. I think they wrote him well enough. I thought he was cool for what he's supposed to be. I will be curious if they really try and make a Star Fox movie. I just don't see that making a ton of money. I mean, when's the last time a really major Star Fox game came out? I have no idea. And they're clearly trying to build out this Nintendo cinematic universe. And the thing that bothers me about it is like they are going for these wild cast decisions. And some of them are good. Like Glenn Powell as Fox, I think actually fits. I think it totally makes sense. Even though I didn't love Charlie Day in this one, I could see him being like a Luigi because he plays like that more anxious kind of character. But when you have people like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, it just makes the whole thing funny. It's like, wow, we are not even trying here. Next, they're going to announce Kevin Spacey as Waluigi and Diddy as Diddy Kong. That is the trajectory we are currently on. And that goes to the core issue I have with these movies. It's like they're not trying to make movies. They're just trying to make money. And I know this is a business. You have to make money to survive. But casting Childish Gambino as Yoshi, like there's no reason other than to go viral in terms of marketing. And they're clearly trying really hard to do that. And it feels like every decision they make when making these movies is just to go viral. That's the only thing they're thinking about. And it's no secret that Nintendo is purposely trying to copy what Marvel's been doing for years, especially the more recent Marvel stuff, where they leave gaps in the movie so audiences could clap at a reference. And to me, that's like the absolute lowest of the low when it comes to watching movies. Like, it is just such an awkward phenomenon. And they're not even trying to hide it. I mean, there's 2 after credit scenes in this movie and in the first movie. What animated or kids movies did we have growing up that had post-credit scenes? It was not a thing. And if this is the standard of the movie we're going to get from Nintendo going forward, I'm going to have to check out at some point. You know, like I make these videos to talk about movies. I am not going to be able to sit through them anymore. I can't sit through the 5th Mario movie where they tease Kirby in the end credit scenes. And I can't even imagine who they're going to cast as Kirby. I don't even know if Kirby's a guy or a girl. Kirby could be non-binary. I have no idea. At this point, they're going to get Chappell Roan or Obama or Trump. One of the 3 is going to be Kirby at the rate at which we are casting right now. Like, it's truly going to get more and more ridiculous from this point going forward. And I've actually been kind of interested in the Zelda movie. Like, I loved Zelda growing up. Like, that was my favorite Nintendo thing for sure. And they're making it live action, and there's so many different directions you could go with making a Zelda movie that I definitely have been curious about it. And since watching this movie, I lose more and more faith by the minute when it comes to the Zelda movie. Like, I hope it's good. They have a good director attached, but man, I just am not having faith right now. And like I said, this is not like the worst movie of all time. This is not the worst movie of the year. It's just what it is a big commercial to pay off of people that have paid so much money to Nintendo over the past few years. I mean, they're selling Mario Kart games for $80 now. Like, that's crazy. And now they're getting $20 more from each of those people to just see them play Mario Kart on the big screen. And I don't like products like that. I like things that have a good story, you know, and this movie does some good things. Like the animation is still stunning. I stand by that. This is kind of setting the new standard when it comes to modern animation. It looks beautiful, and every animator that has worked on these movies deserves a raise. They're doing a fantastic job. It looks great. The movie's also pretty short, so I didn't have to sit there for 2.5 hours rolling my eyes. I got to sit there for like 90 to 100 minutes. But the root of my issue is that things like this that play in theaters, like the Super Mario Galaxy movie, is what ruins ruins movie going culture in general. And it's kind of the reason a lot of people don't go to the movies anymore, because this movie's gonna make money. People are gonna pay to see this. They're going to want to see this. But just like when you go to see one of these modern Marvel movies, you're not really paying to watch a movie a lot of the times. You're paying to see who's going to show up in the movie. You're not paying to watch a movie when you watch this. You're paying to watch adults cheer and clap when Toad tells Fox to do a barrel roll. It's just dumb. And for a lot of people, this is gonna be like one of 4 movies they see this year. And Doomsday is gonna be another one. Spider-Man's gonna be another one. And when the only movies somebody sees are things they remember from their childhood, they're like, oh yeah, I know that IP. Those people are gonna show up for these kinds of movies and they're gonna keep making money. But everyone else that just wants a good movie is exhausted by this kind of thing. Every time I talk to my dad, he's like, hey, are there any good movies out right now? And I'm like, Project Hail Mary, I guess. I don't even think my dad's gonna like that movie. As long as you have references, you make your movie colorful, and something on screen is moving very quickly and it's from your childhood, you're gonna make money right now. But that money making machine is going to stop at some point. People are gonna realize, oh yeah, why am I watching this? It feels like you're being hypnotized to become dumber, and I just think that's when creativity starts to really die. And Nintendo has so much money. Like, you can hire one good screenwriter. Like, I'm not even mad that you have so many references. Just give me a good story around the references. Grab somebody from the old Pixar, say, hey, we need an emotional story. You do that, we'll give you every reference we can around it. That's all you need. I'm not asking for the best movie of all time here. It's a Mario movie, and they're good at making money. Just get good at making good movies. That's all I want. To me, this is like a 4 out of 10. It is not a good movie in my book. But like I said, it's like barely a movie. The first one I would give like a 5 out of 10. Like, that's also barely a movie. It's just more enjoyable than this one. And if you thought the first one was like a 7 or 8 out of 10, you'll probably think this is a 6 or 7 out of 10. You're still gonna have a really good time with it. And I get it. This is a movie for the fans. If you're a fan, I'm glad you had a good time. But if you like this movie, I promise you, there are even better movies out there. And I'm gonna be talking about them on this channel a lot. So if you agree with my opinion, give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you actually like me. If you don't like me, that's okay too. Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. I love talking with you guys. What did you think of the movie? If you're a Nintendo fan, did you love it? If you're not a Nintendo fan, do you like the movie? I think that's also a valid question to have. And we're gonna keep talking about better movies on this channel. So this is Chase. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks.